Hello everyone and welcome to the Herbalist Kitchen. My name is Linda and I am currently studying to become a certified herbalist. Here on my channel I talk about and discuss various herbs and plants and their health benefits, as well as how they help bring balance to the body. So with that, welcome to this video and let's get into it. Today we will be dipping our toes into 5 little shallow dives where I talk about 5 different herbs or plants that later on I will be doing a deeper dive into, all separately, where I talk about the nitty-gritty of the herb and the plant and the things that you need to know. So this week, the 5 herbs that we will be talking about are turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, garlic, and black pepper. And we're going to start with turmeric. But before I begin, I just want to say any information that I've gotten, I will be posting the links for the websites that I used. And when I go into my deep dives, I will be pulling out the books that I have, as well as linking the websites as well. So, first one to talk about is turmeric. Curcuma longa is the scientific name, Latin name, however you would like to refer to it as. Most people will know it as turmeric. So interestingly enough, turmeric is actually a part of the ginger family, and I am not the best with Latin words, but forgive me, and here goes me attempting to try and say it. Zingerberaceae. Turmeric is a perennial, and a perennial means that it will come back every year. With turmeric and ginger, the best thing to do is leave a chunk of the plant in the ground so that it'll come back every year. Turmeric is a tropical plant that originally comes from Southeast Asia, so places like India. And the hardiness level in the US is zones 8 to 11, but if you're in Canada, then you're going to want to grow it indoors starting in January in a pot, because that'll make it the easiest to move outside or move around your house, because in the summertime you're going to want to move it outside. Now keep these instructions in mind for in Canada, because they will be the exact same for ginger, which we will be doing next. The best time to harvest turmeric is either in fall or early winter, when the foliage is starting to turn yellow and start to get a faded color to it. As for what turmeric looks like, I'm not really going to talk about what it looks like above ground, but I will talk about the main part of turmeric, which is the edible part and the most medicinal part, and that is below ground. So technically with turmeric, you're eating the roots. And in this case, the roots are called rhizomes, and they're like a long, thick tuber. If I can, I'll put a picture somewhere on the screen. Same with above ground, just so you know what it looks like, but we're really going to concentrate on just the below ground part. So these rhizomes are like kind of long, long, fat tubes. Sometimes they're on the skinnier side, especially if you're comparing it to ginger, and they are a bright orange color that will stain when you try to touch it and use it, but it does wash off of your hands and your counters eventually. When turmeric is dried, it has a deep gold to yellow color that also stains. Both ways have several uses and several medicinal uses that you can do, going from cooking to making yourself a cream that helps with joint and muscle inflammation. As for cooking, it's mostly used in Southeast Asian cooking, like in Indian cuisine. It's very popular there. It's, from what I can tell on any of the Indian food that I've tried to make, it's in a lot of things. As for the medicinal properties, there's quite a few of those. We'll start off with things like joint and muscle pain. It helps with the inflammation of that. It also improves your brain function. It also helps with stabilizing blood sugar. It helps reduce the risk of heart disease and certain cancers. I believe more research on that needs to be done, but like I said, I'll have the link that I got this information from listed in the description. It has a very potent antioxidant called curcumin, and because of the curcumin, there are anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and antifungal properties. For now, this is all I have about turmeric, and we're going to move on to its brother or sister, ginger, Zingiber officinale. It likes growing in part sun compared to full sun like turmeric, sorry. The hardiness zone is very similar to turmeric. In the US, it's 9 to 11, and if you remember when I was talking about the turmeric, I said pay attention to how it grows in Canada, or how you can grow it in Canada, because that's the same with ginger. So you'll grow it in a pot indoors, starting in the winter and moving outside in the summertime. It is also a tropical plant and is native to Asia. It's used in many, many different kinds of cuisines, but mostly Asian food from what I can tell. Above ground, it has thick-stemmed grass, or what looks like thick-stemmed grass, and when it blooms, it has these yellow flowers with purple edges. Again, I'll try and put a picture on the screen if I can figure it out. Below ground, like turmeric, has rhizomes, and those rhizomes are a yellow color when fresh and tan to yellow when dried. The best time to harvest ginger is any time after the plant stops producing new leaves, which is usually in the late summer. Like turmeric, it's used in a wide variety and styles of cooking, but is most popular in Asian cuisine. Ginger is a common treatment used for upset stomachs and nausea. One of the best things that I found with turmeric is it is actually safe to take while you were pregnant, but it's highly suggested to take in small doses and drink as a tea, though you also have to be careful with that as well. So talk to your practitioner or your herbalist about taking ginger while pregnant, but in small doses, it is safe. So in the way of it helps with upset stomachs and nausea, it also helps with your digestion, and it helps with your saliva flowing. It helps to produce more saliva. Studies show that it seems to help nausea caused from vertigo, motion sickness, surgery, and even chemotherapy, which I thought was very, very interesting. It also helps with painful periods, so if you're feeling extremely crampy, make yourself up some ginger lemon honey tea, and you should feel a little bit of ease in your cramps. Something else that ginger really, really helps with is it helps to ease the pain from osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, muscle and joint pain, and even headaches, which I find to be true. I drink ginger tea when I have a headache, which I don't necessarily get regularly, but I do get. And when I feel one coming on, I make myself a nice old ginger tea with lots of lemon, lots of honey, and drink that, and within a little while, I find myself starting to feel better. In lab and animal studies, it suggests that ginger helps with swelling, lowering blood sugar and cholesterol, protects against Alzheimer's, and prevents blood clotting. There's also clinical evidence that it helps for lowering both blood sugar and blood pressure. Ginger is full of antioxidants that help to protect you from cell damage and disease, which in this day and age I feel is extremely important with all the toxins that we get literally everywhere. The third spice I would like to talk about, plant, however you want to refer from it, is very common. Most people have it, and if you don't, I would actually be quite shocked. And there is a lot of information about this one, so buckle up for that. But this one is cinnamon. Cinnamomum verum. Interestingly enough, about cinnamon, where you actually get it is from the inside layer of bark from the cinnamon tree. And the cinnamon tree is from the family Lauraceae. It likes to grow in full or partial sun. The hardiness for it in the US is 10 to 12, but in Canada you have to grow it indoors, so inside your house or in a greenhouse. It's native to Asia, and the best time to plant is in the spring or early fall. The tree itself has glossy foliage with small flowers that are white or yellow, and they bloom in the summertime. The bark and foliage are very aromatic because of the oils that come from it. It takes about 2 to 3 years after planting the tree to have it ready to harvest, and you can harvest the cinnamon every 2 years after that. For harvesting, I'm going to quickly go over the steps that you would take to harvest it, but I will go into more detail on how to do this come the deep dive that I will be doing on cinnamon. There's just so much about it that I want to go into more detail about it, so cinnamon will probably be one of the first deep dives that come out. So the harvesting process for this is you're first going to peel the outer bark until the orange-yellow layer, which is the edible layer. You're then going to peel strips of that yellow-orange layer. Then you'll let it sit out and dry, and as it dries, you'll notice that it has that curled look that everybody knows cinnamon sticks to be. And then after that, you can grind it up if that's how you want it. But again, I will go over the entire process in more detail in the deep dive that I do. Now, this is where even more of the information comes, so buckle up. There is a lot of health things that cinnamon can help with. So, starting off, it is rich in antioxidants, including polyphenol. It's high in cinnamaldehyde, there we go, which is thought to be responsible for cinnamon's amazing health properties. Cinnamon has anti-inflammatory properties from the antioxidants. The antioxidants are actually so powerful that they act as a natural food preservative, which makes total sense to me from when I am using leftover cinnamon buns to make cereal. The cinnamon buns I let sit out on the counter to dry up a little bit, not much, just a little bit, and from what I can see, nothing ever grows on the cinnamon buns, like as if you had a regular loaf of bread and some moisture got into it and it started to mold within a few days. Cinnamon doesn't do that. It acts as a natural food preservative, which I thought was so cool. It also helps reduce the levels of triglycerides, your total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, which is bad cholesterol, and blood sugar in people who have metabolic diseases, which I also thought was really cool. It also helps to reduce your blood pressure. This one needs more research done on it, but it could improve the sensitivity to insulin, meaning it could help your body process insulin better so that you can absorb the carbohydrates and sugars better in the body. I think I got that right. It can lower levels of blood sugar and support better control of your blood sugar, which I will go into more detail about again in the deep dive. Cinnamon has beneficial effects on neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which are the two most common diseases, which is another thing that we can go into about at a later time. Studies done in test tubes and animal studies suggest that the extracts from cinnamon can help protect against cancer, which another thing that I thought was extremely cool. And another thing we can go into more detail about at a later time in a different video. Studies in test tubes and animals suggest that the extracts from cinnamon actually protect against cancer, and the way that it does this is that it reduces the growth of cancer cells and appears to be toxic, which causes cell death. Cinnamaldehyde actually has antifungal and antibacterial properties, which will then reduce infections, tooth decay, and bad breath. So instead of that peppermint toothpaste, maybe get cinnamon toothpaste instead. There's limited research on this, but it also shows to help against certain viruses. There is a ton of info done on cinnamon that I could go into. This is just the basics for now. I will go into way more when I do the deep dive, which should be pretty fun, and I can't wait to do that. So the fourth one that I will be talking about is probably one of my favorite things. I quite literally use it in everything, and that would be garlic. Allium sativa. It grows in full sun and can grow quite literally just about anywhere. The zoning for it for both Canada and the US is from 2 to 8, but the overall zoning is 1 to 10 plus. Garlic can actually be grown from the clove, so all you're going to do is take that bulb of garlic that you got from the store, preferably organic, and take each separate clove and plant them a few inches apart, and by the next summer, you will have some garlic, some fresh garlic. Not only will you have fresh garlic underground in those nice, whitey yellow cloves with that nice white skin, but you can also eat the tops. The tops are called garlic chives. They look very similar to regular chives, and they actually make a great replacement for chives, green onion, or spring onion. Something that I thought was extremely cool about growing garlic is that it will actually adapt to your growing conditions and end up doing better every single year after that. You're going to want to plant that garlic in the early fall and then harvest in the summer, like I said before, and that'll usually be between June and August. You'll know it's ready to harvest when the foliage turns yellow and starts to fall over but isn't completely dried yet. That part's important. When you're harvesting garlic, do not pull or yank on the stems by hand. Dig around the bulb and then carefully lift that out. You don't want to damage or remove the foliage or roots before you dry the bulb completely. I found a really cool quote. I thought it was very interesting, and I've got it written down, so I would want to make sure that I say it correctly. So I'm going to read from my notes that I have here. So from the University of Missouri Extension, horticulture specialist David Trinklin, sorry if I butchered your name, says, Garlic was given to the original Olympic athletes in ancient Greece to increase strength and stamina. Thus, this culinary staple was perhaps one of the earliest performance-enhancing agents in sports. I just thought that quote was really cool. It brings light, I would say, to the health benefits that garlic really has, and there is quite a bit. But first, we're going to step into the cooking world, because for cooking, garlic is a staple, as far as I'm concerned anyways. You can, 1, never have too much garlic. 2, garlic makes just about everything better. And 3, it's so widely used in so many different kinds of food that it's hard to not count it as a staple like you would salt or black pepper, which black pepper is actually next. In reality, garlic is extremely versatile and is used in many, many cultures around the world in their cuisines. Health benefits wise, garlic is good raw or cooked, but to make sure you don't cook those health benefits out, you do not want to heat over 140 degrees Fahrenheit, because that will kill the, sorry if I say this wrong, the allicin, which you will get the most of when the garlic is raw. Garlic boosts immunity, so when you're sick, what I would do is I would take chopped up garlic, minced garlic, fill up a jar, coat that in honey and let it ferment for like a week or 2, and then you can either cook with that or take it straight. I cook with it. I actually just recently made some chicken drumsticks that were immune boosting because it had ginger, garlic, honey, and black pepper on it, and those are all immune boosting herbs or spices, yeah. If you eat garlic regularly and routinely with fruits and vegetables, it can actually lower your chances of colon cancer, which I thought is so cool. It ended up being that so many of the things that I was looking up for this video ended up helping with so many different kinds of cancers, and with what seems like a rise in cancer these days, I feel this is very important for everybody to know. Garlic is an anti-inflammatory, but it has to be used as an oil to get those health benefits. Garlic can also help improve your heart health as well, and it has a positive impact to your arteries and blood pressure. Garlic can clear the skin through its antibacterial properties, and the antioxidants in garlic also help to clear your skin by killing acne-causing bacteria. Now, something you can do is you can put raw garlic over your pimples to clear them up, but you got to be careful when you do that because there might be a burning sensation on the skin on where you put it because of how potent it is. It won't actually burn you though. It'll just kind of feel like it is. Stinging, burning, whatever you'd like to describe it as. But it will get rid of your acne, so give it a go. Another thing I thought that was kind of cool is that the antibacterial properties in fresh garlic can kill bacteria that leads to food poisoning, like salmonella and E. coli. However, garlic is not a proper substitute for proper sanitation, but mixed with other things like lemon and vinegar, it could potentially be strong enough to kill those things. And for the last point for garlic, because I don't want this video to be too long and I still have one more to go over, is that it can actually be treated for athlete's foot. So all you're going to do is soak your feet in garlic water, or you could rub raw garlic on the spots that are the most itchy, and the raw garlic will attack the itch-causing fungus. Now, moving on to our last and final herb for this video, number 5, that is black pepper. and I am so sorry if I say this wrong, but the Latin name is Piper nigrum? Nigrum? Someone please, 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 please correct me in the comments on how to say it so I am not, causing problems anywhere. I want to be able to say it correctly. So thank you to correcting me in the comments. So what I actually want to start off by telling you about when it comes to black pepper are some interesting and fun facts, or what I thought were interesting and fun facts at least. So, who would have thought that salt is the most common spice in the world? You would be wrong, my friend. And I was wrong. It's actually black pepper. Black pepper is the most common spice used. It's native to the Malabar coast in India. However, Vietnam actually produces 1/3 of the total pepper production worldwide. The peppercorn is actually the fruit of the plant, and depending on when it's harvest is what kind of pepper you're going to get, and there are 3 that you can get from this specific pepper plant, and those are black, green, and white pepper. Pink pepper is not related to these other ones at all, and it actually comes from Peru. And that's something I can go into more detail about. If that's something you guys are interested in, you can let me know in the comments, and I will do a whole other video, maybe a deep dive on pink peppercorns. Now onto the information about the plant itself, cooking uses, and plant and health benefits, although I won't be going into very many cooking uses because, well, it's the most common spice used worldwide. Everybody knows what black pepper is for. So, black pepper comes from the Piperaceae family. It is a vine-growing plant, another perennial, and likes to be in full sun. The hardiness zones in the US for it is 12, and in Canada, you have to grow it indoors or as an annual. And what an annual means is it only has one growing season. Another example of an annual is like a begonia. You can't keep it through the wintertime. They melt and get very gross. If you grow black pepper indoors or the pepper plant, there's a very good chance that it's not actually going to produce any fruit. The peak time for the pepper plant is actually 7 years after you've planted it, but takes at least 4 years to reach the blooming stage and fruiting size. It's considered a flowering vine and will produce fruit for up to 20 years. My mind was blown when I read that. I thought that was amazing. 20 years of producing fruit on one plant. Could you imagine how big that would be? That would be huge. I would make an arch just of pepper balls, or of a pepper plant, so that pepper balls could hang down. That would be so cool. Moving on. The pepper plant will grow up to be 10 to 15 feet long and will need support of a trellis or arch or poles. The roots of the plant will actually grow where the trailing stems touch the ground, kind of like English ivy or periwinkle. There are 3 different ripening stages, which I will go briefly into now, and then when I go into a deeper dive into black pepper, I can go into more detail on the harvesting part of black pepper. So the 3 stages are the green stage, the when just starting to turn red stage, and the completely red stage. So in the green stage, what you're going to do is you're going to pickle those green peppercorns. And why you're going to do that is because it will render them soft and make them only mildly spicy. When The peppercorns are just starting to turn red. You're going to take them off the plant, air dry them for a few days after picking, and your result will actually be the common black peppercorn. When the peppercorns are completely red, you're going to remove that outer husk, and that inside kernel that's white is your white peppercorn. I thought that was cool. I don't know why, but I thought that was cool. Now we're going to go into the health benefits of black peppercorn. And trust me when I say there is quite a bit, and this is another deep dive that I will be looking forward to going into. So, black peppercorn actually has antioxidant, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, gastroprotective, and antidepressant properties to it. One last quick fun fact about black pepper is that it actually used to be known as black gold. I'm not sure why, but I can find out for the deep dive. Peppercorn is another spice that will act as a preservative, and the health benefits are actually due to its bioactive compounds. Now, the most important bioactive compound in black pepper is pepperine. It's a natural alkaloid, which is the main component to the health boosting qualities. Pepperine is considered an antioxidant, which lowers the risk of chronic illnesses like atherosclerosis, cardiovascular disease, and neurological conditions. Black pepper will increase the amount of nutrients absorbed into your bloodstream when eating food. It also helps with digestion and intestinal health. So to make better food digestion and absorption, this is actually done because black pepper will help to stimulate hydrochloric acid, which is what makes the better food digestion and absorption. Another thing that helps with the digestion and the gastrointestinal stuff is that black pepper has carminative properties, which reduces discomfort and gas in your intestines. So if you're feeling gassy or, any of the sort, go eat something with black pepper on it. It'll apparently help get rid of that gas. Black pepper is another spice that has immune support because the active compounds have a role in boosting your white blood cells, which are used to fight off the invading viruses and bacteria that will make you sick. There are a variety of compounds in black pepper, but the ones you specifically want to know about are called oleoresins and alkaloids, like the pepperine, which I mentioned earlier, and chavacine. I hope I said that right. It also has flavonoids, essential oils, and other phenolic compounds, which help to protect your cells and boost your digestive health. So overall, what you should be getting so far is black pepper is extremely good for your stomach. Black pepper is also a very good source for a variety of vitamins, of which I'm going to have to read off of my notes again because there are a lot. So the variety of vitamins are vitamins K, E, A, and B6, thiamine, which is B1, riboflavin, which is B2, pantothenic acid, which is B5, manganese, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, copper, iron, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, zinc, and chromium. Black pepper is a good source for manganese, which I mentioned in the vitamins list. It being a good source for manganese is good because manganese helps with your bone health, wound healing, as well as your metabolism. When it comes to the cooking, I said I wasn't going to go over very much, and I'm not, because I feel like the most used spice kind of says it all. It's used in everything, which will leave me to say that what you're going to want to do when you are using black pepper is to try and grind it yourself, because you will get the most health benefits from freshly ground compared to dry. And with that, that is the end of these very quick 5 shallow dives. I cannot wait to go into deeper dives about them with you guys in future videos. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this was helpful. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'll leave my usernames in the description. If you could please give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know what you thought, or if you have any questions. To stay up to date on when I post, don't forget to hit that bell. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.